Colleen Hoover just reactivated her Instagram account, and she has apparently deleted all of the photos with Blake Lively. And Ryan Reynolds' school teacher has just reached out to me. Plus, there has been movement in their court case.
Well, there has been some movement in the lawsuit proceedings between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni.
Some breaking news coverage of the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni court case.
Okay, so in 2017, the movie Life was released.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' legal troubles just took another major hit as their latest request was flat out denied by the judge. Their legal team had been scrambling to buy more time, but the court isn't having it. And now Candace Owens has entered the conversation, weighing in on the case and calling out the couple for trying to manipulate the system. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni's lawsuit is picking up momentum, and the pressure on Blake and Ryan is only getting worse. From desperate legal maneuvers to damning old interviews resurfacing, it seems like this situation is spiraling completely out of their control.
It's just as important to say, okay, I believe in this, and that's why I'm standing up for it, and that's why I'm not being difficult. And then there are other moments to go like, am I the asshole in the room? Like, what is happening here? I think it's about being upfront about like knowing what you actually need versus just like trying to get the job. And then, you know, once you're in it, sort of revealing the scope of your sort of needs to be, you know, fulfilled.
Blake and Ryan had hoped to stall their legal battle, likely in an attempt to regroup and strategize. But the judge completely shut them down, making it clear that they will not be given any special treatment. This means that they are now on a fast track toward a courtroom showdown, one that they seem completely unprepared for. And with so much damaging information already out in the public, this could not have come at a worse time for them.
Colleen Hoover just reactivated her Instagram account, and she has apparently deleted all of the photos with Blake Lively. And Ryan Reynolds' school teacher has just reached out to me. Plus, there has been movement in their court case. So unfortunately, I am so sorry. I regret to inform you that I cannot be a political reporter today. Okay, I have to suspend political news. If you came here for politics, again, I apologize. I've already failed you. But to the rest of us, welcome back to Candace. Like yesterday, I'm unpacking an entire ring in France. I'm like going to war with the French president, trying to expose all the connections. Today, I am back in Hollywood. And again, I'm not providing any excuses for Colleen Hoover here, but I do think that strategy of love bombing would work, because what they're thinking is all we have to do, if you're Blake and Ryan, is imagine what these people want. What would be the biggest help to them? What are their biggest dreams? How do we help them realize those dreams? So for Brandon Sklenar, we know, it's not confirmed that they helped, but we know that during this time period, he signed with WME, the biggest agency in the world. And he's not that big of an actor, but that happened for him suddenly. We know with Colleen Hoover, it was probably likely this pitch of you should own your book rights. You should own the sequel rights. We want to help you do that. Maybe they were going to take a piece of the production company. Who knows? We know with Channing Tatum, it was Gambit, this role that he had dreamed of since he was a child. And they just went along with it. I think all of these people went along with it, not perceiving that there was evil afoot, okay?
Facing mounting legal pressure, Blake and Ryan's legal team made a desperate attempt to convince the judge to grant them more time. But rather than sympathizing with their situation, the judge refused. The fact that they even asked for an extension suggests that they know they're in trouble. If they truly believed they had a solid defense, why would they need extra time to prepare?
So I don't see anybody reporting on this. There's been an update in the Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds versus Wayfarer Studios and Justin Baldoni case. By the way, if you're not following this case and you are not in it, you can just keep scrolling. You don't have to leave a comment. You don't need to express yourself. Not everything on the internet needs to be for you. a lot of us are very invested. Okay, so interestingly enough, yesterday, Blake Lively's team filed essentially asking the judge for an extension to file their amendment. Okay, so just to slow that down for you, Blake Lively sued Wayfarer Studios. They then countersued them and were basically like, you guys are terrible. Here are the messages to prove it. And then Wayfarer Studios team essentially amended their complaint to include all of the stuff that us internet sleuths found about the New York Times, essentially showing that this article was a part of some larger scheme and that they had the data to prove it. So Blake Lively then said, when I could be reading an amended complaint filed by Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, that seems fun to me. I hope my husband, who definitely does not think that sounds fun, is up for that, because that's what we're going to be doing for Valentine's Day. Okay? So the judge gets both of their arguments. Wayfarer's like, they don't need more time. Blake's like, I do, but I can't really tell you why. And other than like Ryan says, and the lawyers say I need time. Judge Lehman just came back, slapped him down. He's like, no. Okay, I'm going to give you more time. He does give them more time. He gives them one more day. Just love this guy. This is amazing. And his order, and he writes it back, he's just like, you have not presented a valid argument for why you need this extension. Like, drop your arguments here. Like, what are your arguments? You had a lot of time to think about this. You had all year. Judge Lehman didn't say this, like I'm saying this now, but like he's like, look, you've had all year plotting to take down this guy.
In yet another humiliating blow, Blake and Ryan's team took things even further by outright begging the judge for more time. But once again, the judge denied their request. At this point, it's clear that the court is not willing to play their game. With their delaying tactics failing, Blake and Ryan are quickly running out of options.
Well, there has been some movement in the lawsuit proceedings between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Of course, Blake Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds, has been implicated in the lawsuits as well. I haven't seen any outlets or bloggers or anything talking about it, so I decided, why don't I go ahead and share the update with you guys. So as of right now, Blake and Ryan's team are not yet ready to comply with the timeline laid out by the judge. I covered the timeline with my co-reporters in last week's Friday episode of the Morning Report, which I guess I will cut out of that and put separately because, again, I don't think that many outlets have been reporting on that particularly. Everything was moved up rather quickly because Blake and her husband were saying that Justin Baldoni and his legal team were doing too much talking to the press. And so the judge said, all right, well, we're going to rush to get this case over with then. And now they're backtracking.
As if the legal pressure wasn't bad enough, an old interview of Blake Lively has resurfaced, drawing even more criticism. The interview, which once seemed harmless, is now being viewed in a completely different light, as more details about her true character come to light. Could this be further proof that her public persona was just an act all along?
So Sabrina Carpenter looks amazing on the cover of Vogue. This is the March issue. It's her first time on the cover. She's honoring pop legends, and immediately, I mean, look how beautiful she looks there. I actually didn't, this was going all over my social media. I didn't realize it was Sabrina Carpenter at first. You know, the wig, the iconic, like, old glam look. But there's an image of her in this corset. And immediately people started comparing this look to Madonna's 1990 Blonde Ambition World Tour look. See the corsets there, kind of the iconic cone bra, that it just looks so amazing. So a lot of people were saying, hey, this looks awesome. Madonna herself agreed. She commented on the post saying this, is this a Valentine's present to me? Now, when you look further into this, you'll see that the images, this whole photo shoot, it's hard not to think that this was done on purpose, but it looks fantastic. I'm just so happy for her.
It does, it does. All right, Blake Lively in the headlines again for an old interview.
Yeah, so this is a clip from 2022. This could spell trouble for her because in this clip, she admits that she's had or clashed with directors in the past on previous films because she's hired as an actor, acts like she wants to be an actor, but then eventually showcases that she wants to have more creative control over a film. So here's the clip we're going to show you.
I want to just like be an actor. Like I want to, you know, I want to have more authorship. And sometimes I had directors or producers or writers who would welcome that and invite that. And sometimes I would have people who really resented that. For them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull.
And why this is resurfacing right now is, if you've been following, you know that Blake Lively is currently in a legal battle with her It Ends With Us co-star and director Justin Baldoni.
Adding fuel to the fire, the judge has also denied the request for a gag order, which means that Blake and Ryan can no longer control the public narrative. Worse yet, the trial date might actually be moved up. This is a massive loss for them. Now they'll have to face everything head-on, sooner rather than later.
Some breaking news coverage of the Blake Lively Justin Baldoni court case. We, of course, are not in trial yet, but today was a very, very big day in New York State regarding this trial that is possibly going to be expedited. That's right. It's supposed to be March of 2026, but the judge is making comments that he wants to get this thing nipped in the bud right away. He's kind of like the dad who looks in the rearview mirror and says, knock it off, I'll pull this car over. The judge isn't having it, and seems like a pretty good judge so far. Justin Baldoni's lawyer actually is the only legal representative of either party that we know of right now that has spoken to the press. I'm going to share right here what Justin's lawyer had to say. They are very optimistic about what's going down. It doesn't appear as though there is a gag order in place.
Legal experts are now weighing in, with some stating that Blake and Ryan's actions could easily result in further lawsuits. From alleged manipulation to potentially unlawful business practices, the situation keeps getting worse. At this rate, even if they win one case, they could find themselves hit with another shortly after.
There's, Leslie Sloan, who's another PR agent who will be part of this lawsuit. That was Blake Lively's. Blake Lively will be sued. And we're carefully considering other people that will be sued also. And some of them will come as a surprise. Ryan Reynolds, for sure.
Oh, wow. He was involved in this to some extent. There was a meeting at their apartment at which you allege that there were some senior production people who witnessed him allegedly berate Justin Baldoni to the point where these third parties felt upset that they didn't do more to stand up for Justin, that they thought Ryan Reynolds was so abusive. I think he would say, I was standing up for my wife who'd been sexually harassed by this guy and so on. But what role did he have in all of this?
And he treats her very well about that. But what Ryan Reynolds, has seemingly done, right, is used his power and influence to not only help Blake Lively take over this movie, but, he's used it, on Deadpool and to make fun of Justin Baldoni.
Do you think that's what he did? We have a clip where his character Deadpool, which is very popular in this movie, acts more like the Justin Baldoni that I said turned me off with the I'm against toxic masculinity. Remarked on Blake's baby bump. And then Blake, I'm going to play it, but she snaps back about the reporter's alleged baby bump. The reporter did not have a baby bump. She wasn't pregnant. And apparently it had a history of difficulty in getting pregnant, which is why generally you just stay far away for something like that in an exchange. But it went very, very viral. And people were saying Blake Lively was inappropriate and a bully, and it wasn't the first time. And then we saw a bunch of videos. Here it is with that clip with reporter Kirsty Flaw.
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
Did you guys love wearing those kind of clothes that you...
Yeah.
And working in digital...
Everyone wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
I would.
Yeah, it's not just the women that have the clothes.
But
I feel like the women get the conversation.
Ryan Reynolds, who has always been seen as one of Hollywood's most charismatic figures, is also facing a major fallout from this scandal. A shocking new detail has emerged about how he allegedly dumped his former best friend, Jake Gyllenhaal. Some believe this is further proof that Ryan has a habit of cutting people off when they no longer serve his interests. Could this be a pattern? If so, what does it say about the way he's handling this legal situation?
Okay, so in 2017, the movie Life was released. Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal were everywhere.
My worst qualities is that...
Oh, come on, do the best. He's loyal, he's kind, he's smart, he's funny, he's very, very intense. He's harder on himself than anyone else could be. I ran out of hands.
Can I do my?
Yeah, you can do the worst. Go for it. Sure.
My worst qualities are that I can be impatient. And
homicide.
As everybody knows, Instagram had its way with our friendship.
Any words for Ryan, seeing as the next time we talk to him, he will be seeing that?
I have nothing to say to him.
Okay, so that's 5 years ago now. And some articles reported that the beef between them was because Jake Gyllenhaal was competitive and they were going for the same kind of roles, which I don't believe because they're very different actors. Jake Gyllenhaal is a much more serious drama actor. Ryan Reynolds is more like the action comedy star. So I don't believe that for a second, and I do not think that Jake Gyllenhaal is a competitive guy like that. It just makes no sense to me.
Despite everything, Blake is still trying to maintain her public image. She recently shared a sweet video of Ryan Reynolds in what many believe is a clear attempt to distract the public from her legal battle. But given the severity of the accusations against them, a carefully crafted PR move isn't going to change the reality they're facing. A scandal unfold, many are shocked at how quickly Blake Lively's once flawless reputation has unraveled. Some are even saying that watching her downfall is quite a marvel. Once Hollywood's golden girl, she is now at the center of one of the biggest controversies in recent memory.
Sometimes I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor. Yet when I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled. So I think that for them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull because you're like, you're trying to assert yourself into something that we didn't hire you to do.
And of course, we can't forget the biggest issue of all, Justin Baldoni's lawsuit. The case is still moving forward, and Blake and Ryan are still facing massive legal consequences. At this rate, if they lose, it could cost them everything.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, we knew this was coming. We wanted to see what the legal theories were from Baldoni's side. How are they going to make a smear campaign into something that is illegal? What causes of action do they have? What are their strongest causes of action? Again, we're going to read the complaint, parts of it. We're going to go through some of the receipts and text messages and emails and things that Baldoni has to prove what he is saying. We're going to look at these factors as true when we go through the actual causes of action to see if the facts and allegations pled are true. Can they prove these causes of action? And then we're going to see the dollar amount Baldoni puts at the end of the lawsuit. We're going to answer your questions. We're going to get into it right now.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds thought they could control this situation, but they were wrong. With the judge denying their requests, the trial moving forward, and even more damaging information coming to light, they are quickly running out of options.
Ryan Reynolds and Vision PR, for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, I should say. And we are going to read paragraph 1 to start, just to give you a little vibe as to what they're doing here. The following is not a story plaintiffs ever wished to tell. Unfortunately, defendant Blake Lively has unequivocally left them with no choice, not only to set the record straight in response to Lively's accusations, but also to put the spotlight on the parts of Hollywood that they have dedicated their careers to being the antithesis of.
And now, with Candace Owens joining the conversation, the pressure is only intensifying. At this point, it's no longer a question of whether they'll face consequences. It's a matter of how severe those consequences will be.